Okay, the camera just died off in between, But continuing the conversation, right? So you can't change whatever you're going to change in the world, because all of the greats or all of the people who kind of found out the solution and tried to change the world actually didn't end up with somewhere that we want to be there, like Michael Jackson or Dinesh or anybody who was like, I need to, I understand this thing and I need to change the world. And everybody needs to understand this thing. And then that, okay. So my point is, there is no seeker. Okay. This is what the whole point of every spiritual guru saying. You sit silent, right? You sit silent. You sit silently, think about what you are thinking in your mind. Okay. Going to uh so this is earth, right? So I didn't explain this in the other video because I had that we were talking before this video started. So this is earth. So we have seven hells down and seven hells and seven heavens down, and there is the tree, right? So we are saying that all of this tree and hell and heaven are all feelings and not places, right? But I kind of forgot what I was about to say, but I think I will remember after I completed this issue. So is a understanding. So fear, desire, anger, pride, scorn are above base level emotions. So base level emotions are shame, guilt, apathy, grief, which are the lowest of the hells. Okay. So Padalam is the lowest of the hells. If you're a Malayali, right, like me, you know the story of Onam. So Onam, Mahabali, who is like the ideology or ideal god or demigod that we praise at the festive time of festive time of harvesting in Kerala, which is a tradition of like this festival is for this festival is when we harvest crops in like farms, and in order for her to have a harvest, the farmers will get money, and with that money we will buy new clothes for the children and family, and we all be joyous. And at that time Mahavani was like stormed down to Padaram because he was a very generous king, and some uh, like trickery by the gods, he was like sent down to Padaram. Okay, so Padaram is very low, right? It is very low here. But I don't know which is it. Naragam, I'm assuming it is a bit higher. Okay. So this Padalam is where it is like boiling water and all. And that is where the grief and everything comes up, right? But in natural world, like natural world issues, where it's like fear, desire, anger, pride, which is the equivalent for Naragam, where we are walking around, walking on the strings of like hair strings and there is fire around us, which is like still a bad thing, right? That is where like unnatural way of issues are forming. That is like not because of my issue I am feeling regret. It is because of my action. My action is bad towards the society, which is the unity of me itself. And that because my action towards a person is bad, I feel regret. I kicked a small child and the small child tumbled down the street. I feel bad. I accidentally kicked it, but I feel bad for the situation. And then I go about, and that is regretful, right? So that thing is something which is happening only when there is some action in the natural world, right? But in terms of grief, shame, and all, is because something which is internal, inadequacy. Like, how do you like inadequacy in life? Is it so- is it something that we do? No. Is it something that we can't do about it? So we feel like that, right? Inadequacy in sports. I cannot run and compete with another person, but that uncompetence makes me feel bad, right? But it's an internal thing. The other thing is like I do something, and because of my action, I feel bad, right? So in that category, which is like unnatural category of a person, we always have choices, right? Democrats or republic, left or right, male or female, right? This is an unnatural state. But in nature, it has no sides. Like there is no right and wrong. There is no morality in nature. Let's say tiger, right? Tiger eats bear, right? Morally, killing is bad, obviously, right? But tiger can't eat grass, so he has to kill. So killing is bad. Nature killing is not bad because tiger is carnivorous. deer is herbivorous, so no morality. Or morality also is what is morality in feeling, or whether it is right or wrong. In nature, there is nothing like right or wrong. In unnatural things like parties, events, something happens on like the plane, like saying, sports, your favorite sports club won against your friend's favorite sports club, which we already created in a figment of imagination, red and what blue, and that was fighting and somebody won. That is an unnatural thing that we created. In natural thing of life, there is no good and bad things. Things happen to you and you interpret it as good and bad things. In actuality, there is no good and bad things because it is just an event. For example, you you had to go to, okay, let's say you had to have a sibling and that sibling always irritates you. It is a bad thing to be on another person's personal space and irritate you. But at that time we say this is irritating. But think about it. Because of that irritating, we learned patience, which is a good thing. Because of irritation for 18 years, we learned patience for lifetime. So is this irritating behavior anything bad? My point is, whatever had happened to you which is not satisfactory to your brain life, that you think is bad and you don't deserve to be in that situation, is an unnatural thing that is sold by social media and other political television and films and this narrative, right? But in the natural way of living, for that you don't have to go outside the city or live somewhere. In the natural way of living, events just happen, and unless you don't react to it and see it as a show, you kind of are still in the area of in the area of 250 frequency. That is neutrality and trust. That is still in the area of some of the heavenly planet which is just above the earth. But if you want to go above the whole that point and towards enlightenment point, then you need to understand that there is no choices. And that means these whole words that I am using are limited in the case if you just replace this word to whatever feeling that word brings to you in your understanding is the meaning that I'm trying to explain. Okay, this is really rewatch it, like go behind and rewatch it what I said. Words are limited. Why it is limited? Because we can't express feelings. There is a great example that I want you to hear. So how words are limited? Okay, I want to explain fear. How do I explain fear to you? This is why poetry, pictures and everything talk to you, is because it expresses feelings that can't be expressed by words. It's much like mother's love. Write essay about it. Can you make it me understand how it feels? No, you can't. Okay. So the best way to communicate is through silence. So you can feel. So I want you to explain what is fear. I will tell you the closest that I understand. Huey, say something deep. Huh? Ain't got a big boy. Be deep.
Your pain is the breaking of the shell that encloses your understanding. It is the bitter potion by which the physician within you heals your sick self. Therefore, trust the physician and drink his remedy in silence and tranquility. Khalil Gibran.
That all they say. Okay, we now return to. So, because all of these things we are saying, fear, which is somewhere here, 100 frequency, what is that? If you understand what is that feeling, you will be here. But if you want to understand, which is just a feeling below enlightenment, is peace, joy, love. So, my point is, if you want to go beyond this oneness and beyond this left and right, you only have to understand how you feel about the word peace, joy, love. bliss, serenity, reverence, enlightenment, or inspiration. Okay, you just have to feel it. Then you are already enlightened, and there is no point of the process. There is no seeker. Spiritual teachers say there is no seeker. Why? So we meditate to say, and ideally say there is no seeker because, oh yes, this is what I wanted you to say. Why there is no seeker? Okay, we are this person. Why there is no seeker? We are this person. What are thoughts? Right? Science is it's something that we think about. What if thoughts are an electromagnetic wavelength things? This whole conversation is because there are two things. People and science say you need to do something in alpha state, beta state, theta state, right? These are words which are very less in meaning. What do you think about theta? And what do you think when I say to you theta? Nothing comes into mind. Okay, let me rephrase it. That is why poetry is necessary instead of science. That is why every religious story is not a story, not a saying, because it's a feeling that you need to understand, not the saying, right? What is theta? Theta is a wavelength where you can grab your thoughts. So thoughts are not what you think, is actually what you feel to be. So theta wavelength is where ideas are there. Where if you have the access towards this theta wavelength, then or you have to remember how that theta wavelength makes you feel, then you are tapping to the infinite potential of changing your belief structure, manifesting things, finding your invention, all those things, right? There is no seeker, is that there is no this. I need to think for an idea to solve a problem that I have. I need to think about a business that will generate me money is a seeker trying to solve a problem. Instead, what we need to do is feel what we have to feel after we have done the seeking, which the seeker has asked us to do, but don't be fooled by it, right? So, seeker is the ego which plays this game because the soul is bored, and seeker plays this game saying, I need to create this business. And this business should give me 100,000 pounds per month to my bank account. Through that bank account, I will be free, and then blah, blah, blah. And this thing, and the society will say, social media, society, business class, blah, 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 will say, if you need to work hard. This is about determination. This is about resistance. There is 5 frameworks, principle of thinking, all of this thing. Instead, what you have to do is you think that your end goal, how does that end goal see? This is manifestation. Okay, manifestation, motivation video, all of this shit is here, whereby you feel what you have to feel after you have achieved your goal. But this is a limitation in thinking, in the way that you are only thinking, oh, if I was a businessman, I could solve my money problems. But then there is another problem of relationships. Then again at age of 1 year or 5 years after, you think, oh, I need to solve this relation problem. Okay. Which is relation problem is a problem of love, right? And courage, acceptance, and reasons and understanding. After if you accept the fact that you are already blessed, you are already financially liberated, then you see the reason. What is the reason? Reason how people act, why people are bad towards you. It's nothing for their fault. You are that person is being trained on this idea of you are poor. You need to work hard. You need to have money to be happy. You need to have money and you need to give something back to the community for being a good person. You need to be not calling other people bad words. This karma will come back and you will hit it by karma. Nothing happens. Okay, you need that is what his understanding is. So this guy called me a bad word. How does that somebody call me a bad word? Does that become me? So if that is, then people say, oh, this if so if I call you gay, will you be gay? Right? So if I call you a bad mother term, why the fuck are you reacting? Right? Then they say, okay, if you say something to me, that will be manifested because we speak something to existence. Okay, then if I can speak something to existence and I can say to you, or if society tells you, you are not responsible, okay, Unless you